In other stories now, there has been a massive backlash on social media of an insensitive Facebook post in the wake of the death of Springbok legend Joost van der Westhuizen. Rian Lucas, a Facebook user, posted a smiling face of actor Tobey Maguire with a text saying, "Me when I hear a white man has died. Rest in peace, Joost." He captioned the post as "Joost is frek." While Lucas was quick to delete his Facebook account after the backlash, screen grabs of his offensive comments have gone viral on social media. Many users are calling him to be sacked. Others are demanding that he be dragged to court to face up to his actions. Samantha Garai says there really are some disgusting people in this country. Looking for 5 minutes of fame on a public platform like this is just disgusting. And quite frankly, using a death to verbalize hate speech is beyond pathetic. Ronaldo says that Rian Lucas decided to remove his racist post and shut down his Facebook profile. Sorry, but the internet never forgets. Divine, more reactions there, says you can't hide. Deleting your original profile will not work. Rian Lucas, you are part of what's wrong in this country. And Brett says he should suffer the same fate as Penny Sparrow. Lisa also says there on Twitter that this is a coward, a revolting human being who posted an insensitive post that is so wrong on so many levels. Giovanni Machane, that's our NN7 reporter, joins us in the newsroom now for more on this story. Giovanni, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. What do we know so far about this hate speech that was perpetuated on Facebook? What has been reactions from all walks of life?
We do know that a meme has popped up on social media with a very disheartening racial tone linked at the passing of a rugby legend, Joost van der Westhuizen. The insensitivity of the meme escalates because we do know that he was diagnosed with the motor neuron disease and he had been fighting this since 2011. With the family still in shock and obviously in emotions, this insensitivity is heightened as well, because we do know a number of South Africans are displeased with this post, not only on racial terms, but to those who appreciated sports and South Africans alike. We know that 2016 was a very racially tense year with posts such as that of Penny Sparrow. But this is a disheartening and disapproving and disappointing start to the year in terms of a racial punch at the cost of a South African legend who actually worked to combining South Africans, obviously, for the Rainbow Nation, as he was a part of the World Cup winning a 95 rugby team.
Giovanni, thank you for giving us that update. That's our reporter Giovanni just giving us the latest update with regards to the social media post, the backlash that we have been seeing from people who clearly do not agree with this. Let's discuss this further. In studio joining me is the Deputy CEO of AfriForum, that's Mr. Ernst Roots. Ernst, thank you so much for joining us. Under this very disturbing circumstances, it's unfortunate we keep seeing this happening on social media. Clearly, there's an underlying problem there, which is obviously coming to the surface now. But I understand you have filed a report somewhere with regards to this case?
Yes, we have filed a complaint with the Human Rights Commission about this particular individual, and we've actually, since the beginning of this year up to now, we have literally received hundreds of complaints from people with screen grabs such as this one about people encouraging hatred or encouraging racism or even inciting violence on social media, usually on a race basis. So we will be launching a campaign, or not a campaign, a unit within AfriForum that will focus on this, on racism and hate speech on social media. Towards the end of this month, we will launch this unit. But we are very concerned about this. I believe this post is extremely insensitive. It's someone who tries to capitalize this on the death, or the tragic death of a well-known individual, and who uses this opportunity to perpetuate racism. And it's something that we must take a firm stance against.
So what do you want to see happen as AfriForum? What kind of punitive measures or what kind of action needs to happen? Because like you said, we keep seeing this happening, and now it's happening across all races. It's not just black people on white people or white people on black people. It's happening with almost all the races now. Yes,
well, there's different elements to this. Racism must be addressed, and when people, it depends on what that individual is saying. If it amounts to a crime, in other words, incitement to commit some sort of violence, then it's a crime. Then the police should investigate, and that person must be prosecuted. But there are cases of hate speech which aren't necessarily a crime. This might be one of those examples. And in that case, the Human Rights Commission can intervene, the Equality Court can intervene. Of course, for the Equality Court to intervene, someone would have to go to court against this individual, which is something that we will certainly consider. But that's only reactive measures. We need to look at what can we do proactively to address these issues. And I don't think this hate speech bill that's currently in Parliament will really solve the problem, because the purpose of this bill is to lash down on people who make these type of statements. And that might be part of the solution, but we need to look at what's causing these
We need to address the root cause of this, absolutely.
Exactly.
Just a quick reminder to our viewers at home and those who are watching from wherever you are in the world, you can join in the conversation. Give us a call. Our phone lines are open for you. And our phone number is 011-542-2186, and that is the bottom of your screen. Go ahead and give us a call. Tell us what you think about hate speech in South Africa, not just this particular incident, but just the root cause. What is happening? What needs to happen for this to be eradicated in our society? Just coming back to you, Ernst, we were talking of this bill that has been proposed, and again, we're talking about how it doesn't address the root cause of this problem. That's why we keep seeing this happening. But just looking at the instances that we have seen this hate speech on social media, the people that have been asked to account, to their actions, do you think the punitive measures have been enough? Of course, the penny sparrows, and we have seen a number of people doing this.
Well, I think what I'm more concerned about as the question of whether it is enough is rather, are we being consistent? So we've seen this case of Penny Sparrow, which is this well-known case, and she had to pay 150,000 Rand. And in reaction to what Penny Sparrow said, we had a person named Velapi Kumalu, who was actually working for government, who said that we must do to white people what Hitler has done to the Jews. But there wasn't really consequences for him. So our concern is with consistency. But to come...
Very, very alarming. I'll just ask you to hold on to that, but I understand we have a caller on the line. Ms. Button from Durban, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. What are your concerns or questions or opinion?
Mention this, I just think it's a despicable and disgusting piece of fertilizer that could say things like this, regardless of the poor man is dead. Leave him alone, let him rest in peace. He was a legend. These racist remarks about black, white, Indian colored has got to stop somewhere. We all a rainbow nation, we all one. This is what Mr. Mandela wanted. So let us just forget about the racist stuff, and it's got to stop.
Absolutely.
That's all I have to say.
Yes, thank you for your contribution there. We certainly appreciate it. Obviously, the idea of the Rainbow Nation seems to be having a bit of problems here. But clearly with this post, I don't think it has particularly anything to do with, Jurst himself and him having passed away. But, just people's values as they're growing up. Obviously, it has to start from somewhere where you have to have an understanding of the value of a human being regardless of color or race.
Yes, exactly. But I think the problem here is that firstly, the vast majority of South Africans do get along quite well. There was a recent study by, for example, the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation, which found that there's a significant increase in trust between white and black people in this country. But the problem that we have here is that we have people on the fringes within the white community and the black community who are making these extremely racist statements, and these people have to a large degree hijacked the debate. So if you look at what's happening on social media, it seems as if we're on the verge of a civil war in South Africa. But the reality is that people do, mostly speaking, there are obviously exceptions, but broadly speaking, people do get along quite well. So, so the question is, how do we deal with these extremes? And that's what we need to do.
And just from the statistics that you mentioned just now, is there a particular generation that is more prone to all this hate speech that we're seeing, a particular, kind of people in society? What are we looking at here?
Well, it seems to us as if younger people tend to be more vulnerable to these type of statements, or more susceptible to be influenced by this. So that is a matter of concern. Right,
I understand we have another caller on the line. Gugu, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead with your comment.
Okay. I just wanted to say to these people that I think this is the time for them to get the taste of their medicine. Because they are the one who started this, but now when it comes back to them, it's very painful. It's just that it's so unfortunate that it relates on the time that people need sympathy, but it's taste of their medicine. They started it, they have to persevere with it, unfortunately.
Gugu, do you honestly believe that reverse racism is the answer to the hate speech that we're seeing in South Africa? Do you think does it not perpetuate the problem?
There's nothing we can do. We've been injected for this for more than 20 years in our blood. It's in our system. So as well as them, it's in their system. They've been doing this for quite a long, long time. We persevered for it. But now when we're giving them their taste of their medicine, now it's going to be painful. People are going to run to the courts. No, guys, come on, man.
Thank you for your contribution there, Gugu.
Okay, fine.
And so we still have, these comments coming up from our society, and these perceptions of people that have, say, they have years and years of, having endured racism, and people should have a taste of their own medicine. Clearly, that is not the answer now, is it?
Well, that's the type of rhetoric that we heard by people like Joseph Goebbels in Nazi Germany, and that's what the type of thing that we heard in Rwanda before the great genocide there. So we can't simply say, there was atrocities in the past, so to address those atrocities, we must commit new atrocities. I think what needs to be done is the best thing that can possibly be done to address white racism is that white people must speak out against white racism. And the best thing to be done to address black racism is black people must speak out against that. So if it's only a case of white people condemning black racists and black people condemning white racists, we're going to miss each other. We're going to talk.
But I'm encouraged by the stats that you just gave us that, there's an increase of people starting to trust each other amongst the different races in our community. We have Mahleni from Mahlaleni. Thank you for joining us. Very good afternoon. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your word there. Please go ahead with your comment.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Yes, very well, sir. Please go ahead.
No, fine, man. Now my only problem is the guilty ones are the first one to complain. Now that racism is uncontrollable, people are starting to complain about it. Racism was started by somebody, specifically the white people. They know what they've done to the black people. Now they treat apartheid as something that is normal. Look, now we're facing this racism that is uncontrollable.
So
the whole country is mourning the sin of apartheid.
Yes, I appreciate your comment. You sound like you're an elderly man. What do you think needs to happen in our society, especially with the generations that are coming up now, to make sure that, we can spread trust and get to know each other again and redress these atrocities that came with apartheid that are obviously culminating now in our society?
Let's legislate this thing. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
It's very simple. We've got a parliament in this country that is making legislation. Let's make legislation that will be able to deal with these things.
Right.
Apartheid was legalized, was regulated. There was an act that deals with black and white. As long as there is no specific legislation that deals with these things, we're still going to have this topic on TV talking the very same thing. Racism every day. We've got things of national interest that you can discuss, not racism. We're sick and tired of this.
I absolutely appreciate your comment there, sir. Thank you so much for calling us. I understand we have Robert on the phone line. Thank you for joining us. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon. Please go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, I'm Fanny from East London, and I'm also an elderly guy, a white guy, and I've seen it all happen in South Africa, and the only way we're going to come right is to put our differences aside and forgive. I won't say forget, but forgive, and we've got to go forward. When people still keep looking back behind them, they're not going to go ahead. And unfortunately, these racism things are not just black on white or white on black, colored on white and colored on black. And it's going to take something exceptional to get rid of it.
Right.
And the only way is the way God told us, look at the Bible and forgive and go ahead in our lives.
Right, Robert, we appreciate your comment. Thank you for calling us, and to all our viewers who are trying to join in the conversation, we certainly appreciate it. The phone number is at the bottom of your screen. It's 011-542-2186. We'll be happy to hear from you. Just coming back into studio, Ernst, just all these comments we're getting from different people, different races, different walks of life. Just the last comment from the last caller saying that we need to learn to forgive and forget. And then you have the black community saying we didn't quite get an apology. So how do we forgive? How do we go forward from that? Has there been that conversation, an open conversation? Also the issue of a legislation having brought up by one of the callers there.
Yeah, well, there was the whole process with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Obviously, there are certain questions about whether that was really effective. Desmond Tutu, who was the chairperson, himself said that he doesn't believe we really have reconciled in this country. It's a complex phenomenon, so there's a lot of things that can or should be done, but I think the one thing is we need to understand what democracy is and how democracy works.
Right.
And minority communities living within a country that is a democracy must understand that they cannot run the country. But also, the majority would also have to understand that there's a difference between democracy and majoritarianism. And the main difference is in a democracy, minority communities are also protected. So there are certain measures in place to ensure that minorities are protected from government tyranny, to put it that way.
Okay, Mr. Pillay, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. Please go ahead. You're calling us from Durban. Go ahead with your comment.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Pillay, we can hear you. Good afternoon to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
We got New South Africa. We must move forward, man. This nonsense with black and white calling. Sorry, this man, he's a hero who this guy passed away. He suffered 5, 6, 7 years. He's a hero in South Africa. And why this guy is nonsense? I think this guy must be punished like 20 arrows, I think. Same thing must be punished. You must, all racist guys here must get nailed for 150,000 rand. Goes to the other people, feed the poor people.
Right,
Must be punished.
Mr. Pillay, thank you for your comment. We certainly appreciate it. We have Sifiso from Johannesburg on the phone line. Good afternoon to you, Sifiso. Your comment?
Hi, madam. I'm having a concern because every time when black are maltreated, white they don't respond or condemn that. And that's where we have a problem now, because that has happened to some fellow whites, and they certainly raise eyebrows and complain about that. And really, that is not fair to us as majority, because it seems like what happens to them, it really harms them, but what happens to us, it doesn't harm them. And I don't know what they expect us to react in all this, because now they said what happened in the past should not be revenged, and what happened, but yet they continue persisting to maltreat us as majority.
Right,
you look, for instance, the issue of yesterday, where a policeman was being harassed by a white fellow man. We've never had AfriForum come to media and say condemning that.
Well, I'll ask your institute to respond to that. Apparently, you didn't respond to a case where we saw there's a black cops that are being attacked by, I think, white people. This video went viral on social media. Thank you for calling us, Fisa. I forgot to say bye to you. And, they're saying AfriForum didn't stand up to that.
Is that the video that was published today?
Yes.
We're actually investigating that. I've spoken with people who seem to be involved there, and we are trying to find out. Apparently, there's a backstory behind what is seen on that video, where it seems like a white man is pushing a black police officer. So we are looking at that, definitely. But we need to find out exactly what happened. As was the case with this example of this black lady who was on the back of a bakkie a few weeks ago, and
yes,
she was in a cage. And I mean, looking at the picture, it just seems horrible. But if you interrogate that, there was a bit of a backstory. Now, it's still questionable whether she should have been in that cage at all, but apparently, according to her, she got in there by her own free will because she wanted to get a lift. So we need to find out what was the backstory, and we're trying to find that out with this case at this point.
And I think, we have another caller there. Paul from Randburg, thank you for joining us. Please go ahead with your comment.
Okay,
my apologies. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. I think that what is happening in our country is very sad. You know, it's like drinking poison and expect someone else to die. That is the anger that we have as a country. I think we should all come together and come back as one, because there are so many issues that are affecting our countries that we can tackle together. But if we're going on like this, these are just petty issues that, are not important. There are many important issues that we have to deal with.
Right.
This is just not on. The way we're going on, this will bring something major. It has to be stopped now.
Absolutely. Mpumi, thank you for your comment there. We certainly appreciate it. As we wrap up, we seem to be running out of time. Just very quickly, Ernst, it's very sad that, just looking at the legacy that just leaves with the rugby 1995, how it actually looked like it united South Africa with the 1995 win. But now we see comments like this. And I hope AfriForum continues to engage and investigate and bring some kind of a resolution. Obviously, you can't do it alone. As South Africans, we all need to come together and make sure that we solve this issue. I appreciate your time on ANN7 Newsroom. Thank you so much for joining us.